all doing well. It's been a while, so I thought I would come in and say hello. I'm not going to go into the reasons that I haven't been around. If you are interested in that, you can go back to my previous video. It was recorded a few months back, and I speak about that there. But today I wanted to give you some news. I recently got married, so that's the big news that's going on in my world. We got married in April. We went off on honeymoon. It was fabulous. I came back from honeymoon and then I went on the Rachel and Bella Crafts retreat. So yeah, I had a great time altogether. So yeah, that's the big news. So new to me still, not used to thinking of myself as a married woman or calling myself by my married name and things like that yet. So it's all still very new, very exciting for me. Okay, so I'm going to show you what we're going to be making today. We're going to be making this little piece, very simple, made with 2 envelopes, and it is designed to be sewn into a signature. So we would see this half on one side, and then we would have this half on the other side. Ooh, I'm losing my bits. That sounds all sorts of wrong, doesn't it? Losing my bits. Okay, so there we go. It's got a little pocket here. It opens up there. Another little pocket over here, and that's the back side of it. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Very simply made, very beginner friendly and all the rest of that. So let's turn the camera around and have a look. Okay, so I have here a couple of envelopes, a napkin and some pretty papers ready to go. Now these papers come from one of the Rachel Bella Crafts kits. I have no idea which one. These are just prints that I had left over and I'm using up some of them. This is my very pretty napkin that I got at the Rachel Bella Craft Retreat this June. And I said it before and I'll say it again, guys. If you ever get a chance to go to the Rachel Bella Craft Retreats, grab it with both hands and go. You will love it. It's just a fabulous experience with some beautiful other crafters and in a beautiful location. Well, the one at the farm is in a beautiful location. I haven't been to the Malvern one. I've been told it's lovely as well. Anyway, so here we go. We are going to be decoupaging our envelopes, the outside of our envelopes, with the napkin. But I want to line the inside of them with the paper first. Now, pro tip, when you're decoupaging envelopes, or even just putting any kind of wet medium or glue on an envelope and you want to line the inside, do the inside first. Because if you wet it first and do all that, even if you dry it, these little pieces here, they're going to just want to separate. And it's just so much easier to get the inside of it done and not have that happen very easily. It still can happen, but not as easily. It's just so much less of a headache. Just FYI. Okay, so I want to use this blue piece. I didn't have enough in just this to do both. Excuse me, frog in my throat. So I pulled out this piece that has a little bit of it as well, and that will be enough to line one of them, just like so. Almost the perfect size. In fact, it is perfect because I wouldn't want it to go all the way to the end anyway. So I'm just going to turn this over. I'm going to hold it up to the light for myself, and I'm going to line it up where I want it, and I'm going to trace around it with my pencil. Now, when I cut around this, I'm going to go slightly to the inside of both the side lines here. I'm going to stay on the lines for the actual flap of the envelope. For the inside down in here, I am going to just go slightly smaller. It just makes life a lot easier when you're trying to put it into the envelope. So you can see how much I'm giving it, and I'll give it that on both sides. Okay. So let's check for fit. And there we go. So now we get that stuck in. I'm going to get this one stuck in and stuck down with you guys, and then I will go and get the other one done off camera, okay? So that we're not doing everything twice. That's perfect. That's so pretty already. Ah. Okay, so first thing I need to do is get rid of these pencil lines that I made. There and there. And get my trusty glue. I'm using Oohoo for this. Just saves a lot of messing around. Now, here is my glue book. And I'm just gluing a strip across the bottom. And yeah, I'm just giving it kind of minimal. It doesn't have to be glued all over. And even that's probably too much. It's going to make things a little awkward, but we'll manage. I'll show you how I do this. What I do is I just stick it to the back of my hand. And this is awkward for everybody, guys. This is just going to go all sorts of awry on me. I know it is. So then I scooch it in and get it down as much as I can without pressing as much as possible. And then I just finagle it. Pretty much probably the same as anybody else does. Yeah, there's that. So now I didn't put any glue on the flap because I want the flap to be glued down properly, okay? So I'm just going to do my fold where the envelope flap naturally folds. Just making sure that paper stays right into the crease, like so. And I'm going to take my trusty glue book again, put it in there. I should probably move that across. Yeah, there we go. And I'm going to glue all over. Okay, so that is the lining done. Very quick, very simple, as you can see. But it looks so pretty. Ah, so pretty. There we go. There's that one. So I will go off and get the other one lined and I'll come back to you guys straight away. Okay, so we have both envelopes done. Now, I have managed on this one to get a really nice part of the print just central on the envelope, so it looks really pretty. This one not so much, but that's okay because we're going to be folding one of them down anyway, so I'll choose to fold that one down. And that way we'll get to see the pretty print when it gets flipped up, when the envelope flap gets flipped up. Okay, now I'm not going to fold these down at any point at the minute because they're still wet, but let's get our napkin ready. Now, I have figured out with this napkin, I've already used a piece of it as you can see, but I figured out with this napkin that if I position the crease of the flap on the crease of the napkin, I can get the whole napkin covered with one piece of tissue without any cutting or anything like that. So it'll fold up like this when we're done, and we'll get all of this, and the same with the other one, like so. Okay, so the glue I'm going to use for this is a matte PVA deco glue. Now I got this, it's by Art Studio. I got this in the range. I know the range is there in the UK, not sure about America, but if you can find a matte PVA glue, that would work perfectly. Otherwise, just use whatever glue you would normally use for decoupage. I do find this very good. It leaves no shine, no stickiness, nothing at all. The one thing I haven't, I tried it on glossy papers to see if it would take the gloss off papers or take the shine away from glossy papers, and it really doesn't. It ends up rubbing off, which is kind of disappointing, but there you go. It works great for this, and it works great for gluing things in junk journals and not leaving that shiny finish if you get a little bit outside the lines and such things, like I frequently do. So yeah, there's my glue. That's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use just a janky paintbrush. Now I am going to separate these two pieces because it'll just get in the way if I don't. And I'll do one on camera and one off camera, so we're saving time on the video. Just like so. Okay. Now I'm going to give a liberal coating of glue to the envelope. get out my trusty glue book here. So I'm going to get a liberal coating of glue, and I'm going to do just this side first. I'm going to leave the other side for a while. We'll get this one glued down and dried, and then I will look at doing the other side. I have no idea what that is. Okay, so the wedding. How did it come about and all the rest of it? Well, I mean, obviously, we decided to get married, but we've been together a long time. We've been together 17 years, just over 17 years. And we had spoken on and off over the years about getting married. And neither of the two of us was particularly bothered by the whole, you know, big wedding day and all the rest of that. And neither of the two of us are religious. And so kind of just, yeah, we should probably do it someday, you know, for legal reasons. We never got around to it. Now, we've had our ups and our downs in our relationship, as you can imagine any relationship of 17 years would have. We've had some really ups and really downs, but we finally kind of got into a place where everything is stable and steady, and you know, we're in a good place with each other and all the rest of that. So oh yeah, so Derek turned around one day, kind of out of the blue, and he said, would you like a new wardrobe, or would you prefer to get married? Now, yeah, that sounds random, but not really, okay? Bear with me. There's a backstory. It's not even a backstory. It's just that we had been speaking for a while about putting in another fitted wardrobe in the bedroom, yada, yada, yada. We don't have a whole lot of money. We're not rich or well off by any means. So it's kind of, you know, we have to pick and choose our projects and save for them and all that kind of good stuff. So when he said this to me, I immediately said, let's get married, because, you know, just it's time to do it, the whole legal thing and all the rest of that. So here we are. We went and we got married. I got the wardrobe as well, mind you. He spoils me rotten. He just does what he can to do these things for me. Oh, by the way, we did consider having a big party for the wedding and all the rest of that, but we ended up just going to the registry office, 2 friends as witnesses, and we went for dinner that day, had a lovely time, and then we went off to Istanbul for a week, and it was fabulous. So we had the honeymoon, we had the wedding, we did it our way, the way we wanted to do it, and we enjoyed it. The rings came about. I haven't actually told you about the rings, have I? Okay, so you can see on my hand, I'm just giving this a top coat, by the way, guys. When you get it set down, just go over it very lightly with another coating of whatever glue you're using. Okay, that's that done. So the rings, these are my rings. These are my actual rings that we got, engagement ring and wedding ring. I ordered them. I didn't want the whole diamond thing. This is a moss agate, which is one of my favorite stones, has been for a long, long time. And it's very me. So I went online and I found the rings that I wanted, these ones, and ordered them, but ordered them in the wrong size. Didn't realize it because I hadn't started wearing them for a good month, but it's not easy to return them and all the rest of it. Let's just say that. So on the day of the wedding, I need to get these resized. So on the day of the wedding, Derek particularly wanted to put a ring on my finger, and he wanted it to be a well-fitting ring and all the rest of it. So I looked through my jewellery and I came across this ring, which he had bought me a long time ago in Gran Canaria, and we joked at the time that it would be my wedding ring, and there we are. It ended up being my wedding ring. So that's the story of the rings. Okay, so this envelope is done on this side. I'm going to get this dried, and I'm going to get the other one done the same way, and we'll be back to flip it over and do the other part. Okay, so these are now done. We'll put this one aside for now, and we will get the rest of this one done. I'm going to take off the side of this, and I'm going to trim around the top of it as well, but I need to leave the bottom, because remember, we're flipping that up. I have to say that out loud because I've done a couple of these before and forgot to leave the bit and ended up having to patch them. So yeah, it's kind of a reminder to myself to not cut that bit off. Now, I've made sure to cut kind of slightly off that way when I was cutting down there, just to make sure that I have enough. And look at this, I'm after leaving myself short on this because I put it slightly askew on the napkin. But we'll fix that in a minute. I will just take a piece, another tiny piece of napkin and decoupage it over when I'm finished here. But for right now, you need to get something like my glue book here. It's not going to be wide enough, I don't think. I have another one. But something like that. Some greaseproof paper will work. Anything non-stick. Or it could just be a glue page. Just something to protect the back of your envelope. I just have these, so I use them. We're going to do the same thing again. A liberal coating of glue. Get it stuck down and dried. So I'll run ahead with that. Here's all my glue, and I will come back to you for the trimming out piece, okay? Okay, so I went ahead and I got the two of those done. Now we need to trim these out. So I'm going to take my smaller scissors, my fussy cutting scissors, and I'm going to very carefully get this trimmed out. Obviously, don't want to be cutting the sides or the bottom at any point. This is very slightly damp still. It shouldn't be. I've dried it for long enough. Okay, so with this part, if you've used napkin like I have here, it's actually very easy to see. Otherwise, when I use paper, which I do quite regularly as well, I just kind of feel the ridge of the envelope and go with that. And I keep my scissors almost flat. I find that makes it a lot less, it makes it a lot less likely that you're going to cut into the actual envelope. Although I have been known to do that also. But yeah, keeping the scissors itself fairly flat and the back blade kind of butting up against the envelope. You can feel there's a tiny little ridge there. I think this might be stuck a little, so I just need to free that. And that really helps to get a nice trim on that. Nearly done. The hardest part is actually getting that started. But once you get started, it's quite easy. There we go. Pretty good. Might have some little bits and bobs to just go back to. Okay, now I'm going to set that one aside for the time being. With wet glues, when you're decoupaging napkins with wet glues, they can feel kind of rough. Now you can see I've got one or two tiny little wrinkles here as well, which doesn't bother me, particularly if I'm doing something that should look vintage. Most of my journals are kind of vintage style. So what I do in that case, and this is a tip I picked up from Andrea Allen over at Artie Mays, I take my sanding block, an emery board will do it as well, or some fine sandpaper, and I just sand the whole thing, and it gives it a nice, like, this is quite stiff with the glue. When I'm finished, it'll be nice and pliable. I'm not going to make you listen to all of this, so I'm going to fast forward through this. I'm just going to sand it to get the wrinkles smoothed out a little bit, to take the roughness off of it, and it'll be nice and pliable, soft. Okay, so that's that, and you can sand as much as you like until it's as smooth as you want it. Just be careful not to go too hard on it, and obviously you don't want to go through the actual napkin itself. You just want to smooth it out. And if you'll notice, I was keeping the sanding block very flat, so I wasn't pressing too much on one point, because you can go through the napkin. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. I can fold my flap now. Awesome. Like that. And this is the one that we are keeping as a flap. Okay, it's looking so pretty. Oh, that's upside down. Oh no. Nope, that's upside down. No, that's upside down. I didn't think. I did this with one of the other ones I was doing as well. I should have had the napkin turned the other way because I'm going to be using it this way, not this way. Oh, I'm so silly. What am I going to do? I think I'm going to let the butterfly be upside down. Yeah. Oh well. Anyway, I need to go and get the other one trimmed out, and I'll be straight back to you guys for the decorating. Oh no, we need to finish the construction of this, but then we'll be decorating. Okay, so we have both of our envelopes covered, sanded, trimmed, everything all ready to go. Now, this one is going to be like this, and this one is going to be like this. So we're putting them down, flaps together, flaps facing up, flaps together. And what we're going to do, we're going to be attaching these flaps so that it makes a little booklet type thing. But we need to fold this flap down. I've chosen to fold this flap down because it's got a prettier pattern in this one. But you could fold either one down. It's entirely up to yourself. You can fold it to have the flap folded on this side or on this side. I'm choosing this side. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I am going to get my tiny ruler, and I'm going to go parallel with the crease of the flap. I'm going to bring it up. What is that? I don't know. Let me see. That is roughly 3/4 of an inch. Almost 2 centimeters, maybe 1 3/4 centimeters. And I'm just going to fold along that ruler there. Get it as straight as possible. No big deal if it's not perfectly straight, but get it as straight as possible. Okay, so we're going to fold that back. That's what we have. Now, we now have a choice. Do we want it folding that way, or do we want it folding that way? I prefer to have it that way on this occasion. I've done it the other way on other occasions. Oh, that is pretty too. See the way the that pattern lines up there? Oh, that's so pretty. So cute. But will it actually be seen? Okay, so I'm actually going to do it this way because I really like the symmetry of that. So have it folded down. I'm going to fold this back against my flap, the point of my flap, and fold it on that crease line for the flap. And there I have a marking. I'm just going to cut that off. Now I want this to be relatively neat. Yeah, that looks good. So that's what we're going to have. Going to have a little bit of that showing. Very cute. And we have this symmetry going on here. I really love that. That was not planned. Not planned. Okay, so we have this little piece left over. That could be used somewhere for something. I will keep that. And we need to glue this flap down. And then I'm going to line these up. Do they line up nicely? They do. Sometimes these envelopes don't want to line up at all. They're like way off. And I just, you know, wiggle them around until I find a nicely, until they're situated nicely is what I'm trying to say. Yes, words fail me. Okay, so when we have something like this curving down here, and I want to glue the sides for a pocket, I usually take the glue from the shortest point at the top and just bring it down and cover that whole part with glue. It's not going to be used anyway, and it just gives much more stability to your pocket. Okay, just a little FYI. Here we go. And get rid of that a little bit there. We'll get these lined up and into place. Okay. And there we have our full construction done. Hooray, hurrah! So you can see it's starting to take shape, guys. All we need to do now is the finishing touches, decorating and inking if we're inking. I'm not sure this actually needs inking. Might give it a little touch. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now using Vintage Photo. So we have that. Now, I have put a few pieces aside to decorate this. I haven't fully decided on absolutely everything, but I do have this frame. I have a little heart piece. Okay, so I have a photograph and I have a little piece of lace. I'm not sure this is exactly what I want lace-wise, but we'll work with this for the time being anyway. So what I'm doing with the photograph, I am going to decoupage her face onto this heart. I say decoupage, I'm gluing it, okay? I mean, fancy words. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to give that a minute to dry. So what's next? Okay, we have a frame. I do need to nip off these tiny little corners and the inside pieces where the dies popped out. These were actually, it was a full sheet and there were dies inside in this, and I popped the dies out and cut the sheet down to give me frames. They weren't intended to be used like this. So yeah, there you go. I got a 2 for it. And again, while we're waiting on that, going to just have a look at this. I think I may want to tea dye it a little bit. I want some of it to kind of come across, maybe not all the way like that, maybe like that, and then fold across the back. So like so maybe. Let me cut a piece out. Yeah, I did that in quite a random way because I wanted a random piece. It's not quite random enough for me. If I tore it, well, that would work. That's a bit better. I like that better. There we are. Yeah, okay, that'll do. I quite like that. This is going to be the foundational piece, so I could go ahead and get this glued down, but I want to tea dye it a little bit, or dye it a little bit. It doesn't have to be tea dye, but I think I want some sort of a dye on it. Yeah, okay. I have a little bottle here made up with some walnut crystals and some brushed corduroy. I'm going to use some of that on it and see how that goes. Okay, so we got that dyed. Now I'm back to trying to figure out how I want it on there again. Like that. I don't mind that the lace is backwards. Nobody will ever know. Yeah. Love, love, love. Okay, I'm going to get this glued down. Again, just using tacky glue. Actually not tacky glue, I'm using watered down tacky glue for this. Tip for using white glues with fabrics, particularly if it's not tacky. Thinner glue, just regular PVA glue or school glue or whatever. Put it down and let it sit for a few minutes before putting your fabric to it. It will give the glue an opportunity to set up a little, and it won't soak through the fabric quite as much. And it will actually adhere the fabric that way. Okay, so we have our lace down. Let's have a look at this and see how we got on. Now for the magic part, when this turns into something else, something other than just a wooden heart with a picture on it. So we're taking clear embossing powder. My lord. Now I have a piece of blue tack here that I am going to use on the back of this. You shall see why in a moment. That's stuck there. And I need my embossing powder or embossing ink even. Cookie. Get that open, and I need a ball tool. So I'm taking a ball tool, and this is just a little holder for my piece while I'm embossing it, while I'm working with it, because I found that, not that I have found anything, it's just that I don't like the marks you get when you use tweezers for this. If you have a full piece to do and you've nowhere to grip it with the tweezers, I prefer to have it like this than with tweezers. There's no marks. Okay, I'm going to get this done. I'm going to do this 3 times on the top of this. I can't show you the actual embossing process because my heat gun doesn't reach up to my desk. So I'll go and get the 3 coats on this. It'll simply be melt this powder, redip it, melt it again, redip it, melt it again. That's all I'm doing. Okay. Okay, and there she is, all done and dusted, looking so pretty. It just gives a new level to something so simple, you know. It makes it an actual embellishment as opposed to just something you stuck together, you know. There's powder all over the back of that, but anyway. So she's looking fine. Get her, and I will say that the heat embossing helped to keep those sides down as well. Okay, so there's that. I also have a butterfly that I want to put in there. That's the one. Okay, so we have a butterfly and we have our lady. There's a couple of other elements to go here. I want that to be like that. Okay, and I want to put some sort of a tag or a tab behind here, just to give it a little something something. I will color that in a minute. And then thinking about these flowers, but I'm not sure. Okay, so I think that's how I want it. I'm going to get that put down. I'm going to do all the inking and such things, and I'm going to get that put down, and I'll be back to you guys. Okay, you guys, not 100% sure where we stopped yesterday, because today is a new day. But I think I had said that I was going to go and get these things glued down, and that I would come back to you. So here we're back. I've also decided that I want to put some lace down here, so we're going to do that now very quickly. Okay, so that's how that is looking. Now, this video is probably long enough, so I will actually decorate the rest of this off camera, the inside and the back of it, and I will put photographs at the end of the video. But just to give you an idea, this is one that I did in a vintage style. You can see we've got a photograph, we've got a frame. I'm using the same, I'm doing it as a mass make type thing, and I'm kind of trying to use the same elements. So we have a photograph, a frame, a 3D element, and fabric or lace coming over, and obviously they both the envelopes have been covered. This one is actually with decoupage paper that has a lovely map on it. It's all decorated up so you can't see it properly. But on the inside of this one then, there is a little closure for the flap. I haven't done anything to the inside, just slotted in a piece of ephemera. A couple of pieces of ephemera here on the pocket. I didn't decorate this pocket. You can, and I have done before, but on this one I wanted to leave it. I may end up adding something at a later date, but for right now I wanted to leave it. 2 faux kind of coins. They're coin images that I just put some heat embossing on, 3 layers of heat embossing. You should be able to see the shine on that. Label down here, and this is the gubbins, as the girls in the UK say. I love that word, gubbins. We don't use it very much over here. This is the gubbins of the spine of a book, an encyclopedia to be precise, and I had this lovely dark red piece down here, and I thought that looked really well. Gives it a nice kind of rough edge here as well. Piece of ephemera in here. And on the back, I've just done a very simple collage, just keeping with the whole vintage style and theme. So that is that. Like I said, I will put photographs of the finished piece at the end. And just to mention as well, I kept this piece. I cut it off when I was folding this over. I cut it off, and I toyed with the idea of it being used as a closure. But as I want to use these in signature, I want to actually bind them into a signature here. I didn't need the closure, but I just left it in there just in case I did use it that way, and I could have a little closure for it. So guys, that is our little make for today. Hope you enjoyed the video. I enjoyed making it, so that's a good thing, I suppose. And yeah, I hope to see you soon. If you do happen to make one of these, post it on Insta or on Facebook and tag me in it. I'd love to see your makes. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Talk to you soon. Bye.